Got a quiet morning here at the house, so I figured I'd try and push through another couple of these uh, of the countdown. Number 17 in the top 50 games in my collection. This is Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle. Um, it is a 2 to 4 player game. It is a deck builder game, which I'll get into a little bit, and it's also a not quite what they call a legacy game, but the game grows as you play it more and more, and I'll get into that in a bit. Plays best with four. It is a much easier game with only 2 people playing, so we call that scaling. It doesn't scale well. It becomes a much more difficult game, and like I talked about, difficult co-ops are the best. So if you have all 4 players, it's definitely tougher, but I guess that makes it for a better experience, in my opinion. Each game takes, well, when you start, it takes probably half an hour, but the game grows. The last game will take probably 2 hours to push through, but that varies with the number of players. Difficulty-wise, this is as simple a deck builder as there is. Difficulty 2, probably 8 and up could handle it. And it's Harry Potter, so the theme is definitely aimed at the family, or the, I don't want to say the younger crowd, but if you've read the books, this is or seen the movies, this is Harry Potter, the board game. So it starts out, you have 4 characters that you can play, and you're playing as one of the 4 characters, either Harry or Ron or Hermione, and then Neville Longbottom is the 4th student that they picked. And each character has their own deck of cards. I've sleeved my cards to help protect them, because with deck builders, the starting cards get a lot more use than the other cards in the deck, and they will start to show the wear on the back, so you can tell just looking at the deck. Not really cheating, but you can tell, the next card's on my deck's one of my starter cards, as opposed to one of the cards that doesn't get played a lot. So if you sleeve them, in sleeves you can get 100 of they call them penny sleeves. It protects the cards, and the wear doesn't show, so it makes it less obvious. You can't really tell what the next card's going to be, and sometimes that matters in the game, and will impact your decision if you're thinking that far ahead. So you will start with a deck of cards. With deck builder games, everybody starts with a hand of cards. Most deck builder games, they're exactly the same for all the players, but for Harry Potter, they're specific. So I have Harry's deck here. He has Clean Sweep 11, which is the broom he starts with in the movie. He's got Bertie Bott's Ever Flavor Beans, and he's got Pinwidgeon, his owl. And then he has a bunch of spells. So the types of cards there's ally cards, which are blue, there's item cards, which are yellow, and then there's spell cards, which are red. And there's 2 resources in the game, as it were. You'll either get coins from using these spells, or get an attack power, which you'll use to attack the villains that are trying to achieve their goals. So the other resource that isn't tangible is your health. So each player also gets a health board, a health track, and nobody dies in the game, but when you get knocked down to 0, you're stunned, you have to dump half the cards, and the bad guys move 1 more along the bad guy track. And there's times when it daisy chains and all the players get stunned in the same turn, and it gets bad. But so during your turn, you'll have a hand of 5 cards, and you will choose what you want to do. So in this hand that I just happened to grab, I have 5 of the coins. So then I can spend the 5 coins to purchase either another spell or an item or an ally. So like Rubius Hagrid cost 4, Albus Dumbledore costs 8, so I'm not going to be able to afford him at the start because you only have 5 cards. And you say, well, how can I ever afford it? Well, there's other, as you buy these cards, you're going to be able to generate more and more coins, or you may be able to draw extra cards, or yeah, pretty much that's it. Or you either gain more coins or draw extra cards, which gives you more coins in your hand. So you have to work to be able to recruit. Even a cost 5 or 6 is tough. So you buy those cards, they go in your discard pile. All your cards that you use go in your discard pile, or actually all your cards go in your discard pile if you can use them or not. And then you draw, and when you can't draw, when your draw deck is empty, you'll shuffle up the cards in your discard pile, and that's where the cards that you purchase come back into play. So eventually they're going to come back in and cycle through. So each turn, the first thing you do is the bad guy. You read what happens at the villain, the location, the Hogwarts location that the villains are trying to control, and they have 4 spaces down on the bottom on this one and 4 on this one. This is for the setup for the first book. And if they manage to take control of both of these, then the players lose. And there's certain things that will cause these little tokens to be placed on the villain control track on the card. So the first thing you do is you consult the card, and it says each turn reveal 1 dark arts card, and this changes from book to book. So in the first book, there's Diagon Alley and the Mirror of, I'm going to pronounce it wrong, sorry Potter fans, Erised. It's the mirror where he sees his parents. Those are the 2 locations for book 1. And the villains for book 1 are Crabbe and Goyle and Draco Malfoy and Professor Quirrell. So you have to defeat Crabbe and Goyle by 5. You're doing 5 damage to them, and then Draco takes a 6, and then Quirrell takes a 6. So that they've really set it up nicely, having played deck builders before, for book 1 to be how to play a deck builder and learn the game. And it's not too difficult. You can breeze right through it. They say gamers, so let me get into how this game is a legacy type game, or it grows as you play it. So you play the first game, and then you open up, there are these boxes that say game 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So once you beat a game, you get to open the box, which opens up new cards, and you get cards from the book 2, movie 2, that you add into your Hogwarts resource deck. You get new locations, you get new dark arts cards, which will be more of the spells the bad guys, the villains use in the movies or the books. And you'll also get new villains that get added to the stack. So you still, game 2, you get to go through Crabbe and Goyle and Malfoy and Quirrell, and then you get the villains from book 2. So as you progress, book 3, book 4, 5, 6, 7, you know who shows up at some point, and then he goes on the bottom of the stack, and you have to beat everybody through all the books and finally beat him at the end. This is great. We played through as a family. The kids enjoy it. They got frustrated towards the end because it's tough playing 4 players to beat Voldemort. But it's challenging. Each player has their own. Each character has their own feel to them. Like Neville, I usually play Neville. He's the friend that helps heal. So everybody takes their damage doing their thing. Hermione's the spellcaster. She does all the spell stuff. Harry's all over the place with friends and allies, and I think Ron's drawing a lot of extra cards. I think, like I said, I've really only played Neville because the family likes the other characters, so I take what's left. There is an expansion that came out for this that adds Luna Lovegood as a character, and has more to do with the creatures, or the monsters. And we've yet to actually play that because we just beat book 7. Dexter, you're all right. And yeah, so that is number 17, Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for 16 for the kids.